So a quick warning before we start this video, there is going to be multiple talks of sexual assault, and also these are allegations. Nothing is set in stone right now, so just proceed with caution. You know, it always seems like when a certain unknown hits big in the entertainment universe, there's always something that pops up with them, and it's always something bad, whether it's something from the past that happened a while back, or something recently that, should definitely be taken seriously. And in this case, with Percy Hynes White, who played Xavier Thorpe on the hit Netflix show Wednesday, well, he could potentially be in some deep shit. As recently, it has come out that he was known to, or is known to, sexually assault some young women and even kind of, entrap them in a way. Not necessarily, it doesn't clarify if he's ever gotten violent with these girls, but there'd be some times where he would get real angry and upset and just kind of like corner them and yell at them and degrade them and all this stuff. All this while he was around ages 17 to 20. He's 21 now. Another thing I forgot to mention in this situation was that Percy would get these girls intoxicated or high and then have them do some illicit sex acts on him, which, is pretty fucked up and scummy if you ask me. Getting the girls in this state where they're not in the, right state of mind and then having them, or in this case, forcing them to do that stuff, it seems pretty shitty. But again, allegations, so we'll just leave it at that. I mean, obviously this is a serious topic. Now again, these are all allegations, so I don't want to sit here and say, oh, he's guilty, or oh, he's not guilty. The evidence will show itself. Both people will be able to tell their sides of the story, and when more comes out and gets more definitive, then I think that's when it's nice to take a side. I think something like this should be looked into, but I don't think everybody should start jumping the gun with a lot of stuff, as recently, too, people have been wondering what's going to happen with him on the Netflix show Wednesday, and how they're surprised that Netflix hasn't, canned him yet from the show and said that they're going to replace the character Xavier, not the character, but replace Percy with a different Xavier. And to that I say, it's not the right time to do that yet. I think everybody's so quick with jumping the gun that if Netflix were to do this, and then it turns out like some sort of like Johnny Depp situation where, not necessarily that it turned out to be the other way around, but that these were all false allegations, then Netflix is going to look dumb and stupid in their case, and then it's going to be the whole, see, they believe the victim too quickly before the things came out about it. So I think Netflix and Tim Burton and whatever, they're probably just taking it day by day and seeing what goes on, but for now, they're not gonna, pull that trigger quick, and I think anybody who wants them to pull that trigger now is definitely, doesn't understand the situation and what needs to be done to continue moving forward. There's also been people who have started a petition to not have Percy get canceled from acting because of all this, and a lot of it just has to stem with how this person says he's a good person and he's a really good actor, so therefore he shouldn't be canceled, which that to me is just a little like, if he did what these girls are saying he did, which would make him a terrible human, it's not because we're canceling him for some stupid reason. This is something that, I think he should get punished for, and most of the time these guys don't serve jail time, but for us, someone like me, you'd be serving jail time for it, so it's like, him getting canceled and not getting an acting gig after this situation, if it doesn't turn out in his favor, isn't going to bother me as much, because I know he did something terrible, and yeah, he can learn from it, but at the same point in time, come on. Plus, I feel like this petition really is just kind of harmful to the potential victims and their families, because this is basically also just kind of downplaying the situation, or they're basically just doubting these girls that they probably don't even know. And heck, the girl that created this petition, I don't even know if she knows Percy Hynes White in real life. Like, I don't even know if they've ever crossed paths, so who is she to say about something like this for someone that she knows nothing about? And heck, again, we don't know these stories, so why are we just being so quick to jump the gun on both sides? Another thing people want out of this is the Wednesday star Jenna Ortega to speak out about this, because people seem to be worried for her, which, okay, I get it. When you have a co-star that's being accused of some pretty nasty stuff like this, then it can be a little concerning for the actress who basically they share screen time together on Wednesday. Not a ton, but they share enough. But I think people's main concern was her and Percy were working on a rom-com project together. Now, it has said that it is done filming, it is wrapped, but with that comes the whole, they gotta do press together, and there's been pictures of them where they're like really close to each other.
What the hell? Oh my god!
There was also this video released on Instagram of Percy getting a little too touchy with Jenna, and she apparently didn't like it that much, but I don't know. See for yourself. And it has a lot of people worried that maybe Jenna has somehow succumbed to the perviness of Percy in this situation. So I missed out on an opportunity to call him Pervy Percy, so kind of disappointed in myself. People just want her to say something. They want her to basically denounce these, actions by Percy, which, again, it's something where we pretty much know her stance on it. I don't really think it's going to surprise everybody if she does come out and she says,
I don't agree with what Percy did or people are saying Percy's doing.
It wouldn't surprise me at all, but at the same point in time, I don't think she has anything to do with the situation at hand, so why have her get involved when this doesn't seem to be anything that's, really her business? I mean, yeah, she works with the guy, but that doesn't mean that she has input in anything else. And I feel like if she did go through something with Percy on this level, then I feel like she would have come out and said it already, considering there's already women who have come out and shared their experiences with the media. Like, I feel like at this point, Jenna would be okay to go out and say, this is what I experienced, and, leave it at that. Because there's been other girls who said they had met Percy and he was just a very, disgusting person overall. Like, he wasn't as friendly as he makes himself out to be. And, okay, maybe that's not a cancelable offense in that scenario, but, from what I've seen with the Wednesday cast, they have nothing but nice things to say about each other, unless, sometimes they lie. But, again, I feel like if anybody had a problem with Percy up to this point, they probably would have said something. I guess my point of this whole video is that something like this is serious and should be taken seriously. We gotta stop being so quick to jump the gun on both sides of the people who are like, oh, he did this, he should be canceled, and the people who are like, oh, no, this is all lies, he shouldn't be canceled, he didn't do this, he can't do this, and whatnot, because it doesn't, how do I put this? It downs the seriousness of the situation when we should all just kind of, when we're not a part of it, we shouldn't get involved. Like, wait for stuff to start coming out that is proof of whatever, whether real or fake allegations, and then that's when we can kind of start putting, two and two together, like, oh, like, I get it right now, the evidence doesn't really go in Percy's favor, but that doesn't mean that there's other evidence that can come out later that would say otherwise. There's situations where it turns out that the person who is being accused ends up being the innocent one because, well, I don't know, maybe this just has to do with an attention thing and a money thing because, oh, he made it big with this show, so, maybe we can say something like this. And it sucks to think of it that way because there are people out there that seriously have gone through sexual assault and rape cases and have been called liars even though they're not liars at all. It starts to turn people against the ones who are accusing the so-called accused because they hear about these situations where women, want to lie about certain situations. Again, in the NFL, I can't remember the NFL player's name, but he was getting in trouble because he supposedly beat his girlfriend. But from what we found out, his girlfriend knew that, hey, he's an NFL player, makes millions of dollars. So I thought if I said something like that, I could get his money. Bitch better have my money! But this whole thing with the Percy Hynes situation, as I like to say, it's... And I'm not saying that, we, just need to ignore it. I'm just saying that victims came out, said what they, needed to say, and now it's just a matter of, letting things go into the legal system. And if Percy wants to come out and say something stating his innocence, he can. And if anybody else wants to come out and state Percy did something or they want to denounce Percy Hynes' actions, they can. It's all just kind of like a, not everybody has to say everything all at the same same time, because maybe some people just want to be like, okay, that doesn't sound right. I'm gonna wait for more to come out before I start taking sides here. Because you got to think too with Jenna Ortega, I mean, this is basically like a friendship, I'm guessing, she's got with Percy now. And if she's just quick to jump the gun and say, no, you're a terrible person, and not believe him, and then turns out that it's all, you know, not true what these girls said, then how does that look on her? I mean, it just, there's a lot of things you got to think about in this situation, and I just think that being quick to rush things is what makes these situations even worse than they are, because people want to jump to conclusions, and then it starts this whole battle online, and people can't just ever be patient and wait things out in these situations. And all this stemmed from an article I saw that was saying that, oh, with Percy Hynes White's actions, Jenna Ortega's next movie could be, you know, like, could definitely do bad because of this. And I'm like, wait, her next movie is Scream 6. How could... Oh, you mean the next movie that those two are doing together? They have a rom-com coming out together, and it's an indie movie, so it's not like it was going to make massive money at the box office anyway. Most indie movies don't. I guess Jenna could care less in that situation, but yeah, that's basically all I have to say on the situation. It's definitely a, you know, scary situation, and until more comes out, there's no reason to pick sides. It's just let it play out, let it do its thing, and then once more evidence leads towards whatever, I think that's when it could start becoming clear that, oh, Percy's guilty or Percy's innocent. But right now they're just allegations, which means this is what we have, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything is true, or maybe there's some truth, but it's bent and twisted a little bit to make it sound worse than it is in some sort of way. So that's all I have to say. You can tell me in the comments below what do you think, but until then, stay safe out there, and I will catch you all in the next one.